Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in this video we're going to be previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 13 matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. So guys, without further ado, let's talk about it. First thing I would like to mention is that Scotty Miller, Anthony Nelson, and MJ Stewart have all been labeled as out for this upcoming game versus the Jaguars. It sucks in the case of Scotty Miller and Anthony Nelson. Both these guys have been dealing with injuries their rookie season so far this year, so that just kind of sucks. We've seen flashes from both of them of their, brilliance that they can have as rotational kind of guys and just sort of in a backup capacity, which could eventually lead to starting opportunities moving forward. We've seen those flashes with both those guys. It's just that they've been dealing with injuries and it sucks, and I really hope that they can get fully healthy soon and they can finally contribute, if not for the rest of this season, contribute next season and during the offseason as well. And then in the case of MJ Stewart, it is unfortunate, and it just kind of adds more to this up and down season that MJ Stewart has had. Some games he's in starting positions and getting some playing time, and then other games he's inactive. I really don't know what's going on with MJ Stewart. I really don't know if he's going to be with the team come next season. My money is probably not. I've said that in a couple of videos in the past here. I still believe that wholeheartedly, and it's just unfortunate that MJ Stewart is out because maybe he could change some minds, turn some heads, and really make a difference in terms of his standing on the team right now. So yeah, those three guys are out. It sucks, it's unfortunate, and hopefully they can all get healthy soon. Next thing I want to talk about is, hey, revenge games. There's a couple of revenge games in this upcoming game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on both sides of the football. Not nearly as many as there was versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. In the case of this video, I'm just going to strictly be talking about players, not coaches, for this game. So Josh Wells is going to be having a revenge game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Josh Wells played 4 years on Jacksonville until he was released, and then just recently signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So hey, Josh Wells, he's probably going to be getting some playing time in certain packages as a an extra offensive lineman in some power run packages or whatever you want to call them. So hey, Josh Wells, block your heart out, man. I'm rooting for you. You go out there and you get that revenge and you plant a Jacksonville defensive lineman on their butt. I'm rooting for you, man. Go Josh Wells. Next player I want to talk about is Calais Campbell. Now, Calais Campbell did not play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He actually played for the Arizona Cardinals. And Bruce Arians has alluded to this before, but one of the players that Bruce Arians kind of got rid of in terms of, getting rid of an older veteran that Bruce Arians thought was past his prime, essentially, was Calais Campbell. And Calais Campbell went to Jacksonville, and he has been really good. And I hate to say it, but Bruce Arians kind of missed on that one because Calais Campbell clearly showed that he has a lot of juice left in the tank, and he's been showing it for the Jacksonville Jaguars for the past couple of years. So Calais Campbell, he's going to want to get his revenge on Bruce Arians. He's going to say, Bruce Arians thought I was washed up, eh? Well, I'm going to show him. I'm going to destroy his quarterback. So, yeah, hopefully Calais Campbell doesn't wreak, too much havoc on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line. The Buccaneers offensive line had such a good game versus Atlanta, so they have a lot of, good things going in their favor for this game versus Jacksonville. So, yeah, keep an eye on Calais Campbell. Hey, maybe we'll see Calais Campbell versus Josh Wells. That would be absolutely crazy. But anyway, the final revenge game that we have is defensive tackle Akeem Spence on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, we all remember Akeem Spence. He used to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, I'm going to be honest, guys, I miss Akeem Spence. I really do. Like, unironically here, I do miss Akeem Spence. I thought that he was a pretty darn solid rotational defensive lineman. I think he would have played very, very well in this current Buccaneers scheme. I thought that he added a lot, not just as a run stopper, but a little bit as a pass rusher as well. I thought that he was a pretty decent overall defensive tackle. It sucked that we let him go, but hey, things happen. He has bounced around to a couple of teams now. I believe he was on the Dolphins, the Lions, now with Jacksonville. So he's been around to a couple of teams. It's unfortunate, but hey, that's how the NFL goes sometimes. I do miss Akeem Spence, but I do not wish him to do good in this game. I really hope that he has a very, very minimal impact versus the Buccaneers. But yeah, those are your three revenge games. Josh Wells for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then finally Calais Campbell and Akeem Spence for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to talk about Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Nick Foles, who suffered a clavicle injury very, very, very early on this season. It was a horrible injury. I believe he only played 1/4 of football for the Jacksonville Jaguars before he went down with an injury versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And then in his place was Gardner Minshew, a 6th-round rookie quarterback who just completely lit up the NFL. He played really, really good, guys. He led the Jacksonville Jaguars to a 4-4 record. I believe he had 13 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, and overall was a really, really solid quarterback and kept Jacksonville in a lot of games. Like, a lot of games. Jacksonville, probably could be in a better position right now if Gardner Minshew would have stayed the quarterback, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, they did not decide to just continue to roll with Gardner Minshew. They instead decided to go back to Nick Foles once he returned to the team from his clavicle injury, which, I mean, honestly, yeah, that does make some sort of sense. They did give Nick Foles a big contract this offseason, somewhere in the ballpark of $20-something million. So, yeah, it makes a good deal of sense that Nick Foles would go back to being their starting quarterback. That's pretty much what they're paying him to do. They're not going to pay Nick Foles to be a backup quarterback. Like, what are they, the Denver Broncos with Joe Flacco or something? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that Nick Foles is back as the starting quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and, we're going to see what's going to happen with this. I personally have not been the biggest Nick Foles fan. I think that he has been overrated, especially with the Philadelphia Eagles, but I know I'm kind of, I'm out there with my takes sometimes. I don't have the best takes sometimes. Nick Foles, I think, can be a pretty decent quarterback when he is on his A game, but when he's not, he doesn't look very good. So just pay attention to what kind of Nick Foles we're going to be getting in this game, and pay attention to how he does against a Buccaneers defense that really had a solid game versus Atlanta. So yeah, pay attention to Nick Foles. And hey, do you guys remember whenever the Buccaneers almost signed Nick Foles? Do you remember that? Nick Foles had it down to 2 teams. I believe it was Philadelphia and Tampa Bay, and he chose Philadelphia, and obviously he won a Super Bowl from that. But Nick Foles was almost our possible franchise quarterback. It's so weird to think about, man. Yeah, weird times for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next thing I want to talk about is the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, guys, and this is a defense that is day and night when compared to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Whereas the Buccaneers' run defense has been one of the best in the NFL, the Jacksonville's run defense has been one of the worst in the NFL. Whereas the Buccaneers' pass defense has been one of the worst in the NFL, and until recently, the Jacksonville Jaguars' pass defense has been one of the better ones in the NFL. So this team, these teams are like a weird, opposite of each other. You know what I mean? The point I'm trying to make here is that the Buccaneers have a good opportunity to finally get their run game going versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I know people have said, take the pressure off Jameis Winston, we need to run the ball more. And I do get that, I do. But the Buccaneers have been, losing, they've been down early in games so many times this year that it makes a whole heck of a lot of sense why they wouldn't run the ball, because they're trying to catch up in games, so they have to pass the ball. That has happened multiple times this year. It makes sense why they haven't ran the ball. But I think finally now, with the Jacksonville Jaguars, you finally have a chance to set the tone in terms of the run game. You can start off running the ball and hopefully keep things going depending how the flow of the game goes. So look out for Ronald Jones to get some stuff going. Look out for Peyton Barber on the goal line. And I would even go as far as to say to look out for Ronald Jones in the passing game as well. I think slowly but surely he's been usurping Dare Ogunbowale for his receiving back duties, and I'm all here for it. I love Dare Ogunbowale. He is a team captain after all, but I think that Ronald Jones is the guy for not just the future, but for the right now. So keep an eye on Ronald Jones. Keep an eye on Peyton Barber, because this Jacksonville Jaguars run defense, guys, it's not good. So yeah, pay attention to those guys. And then in terms of the passing game, we all know this. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they're going to go out there. They're going to do their thing. Jameis Winston, he's going to pass for a lot of yards. He's hopefully going to pass for a lot of touchdowns, and he's hopefully not going to pass for a lot of interceptions. So yeah, keep an eye on the Buccaneers offense as a whole, but especially the run game, because I think that this is where the Buccaneers could finally have a breakout game in terms of their run offense. Finally, guys, last thing I want to talk about is, you know what, pay attention to the Buccaneers defense, especially their front seven. Good Lord, the Buccaneers front seven has been so good this year. Vita Vea, Okay, Ndamukong Suh, who has had his good and bad moments, but hey, at least he's looking good recently. William Golston, who has been pretty underrated this year in terms of his run defense. He's been a really, really solid contributor on the run defense. Same with Raheem Nunez-Roche. When he's gone in there and he's made some plays, he's been a solid run defender himself. So shout out to William Golston and shout out to Raheem Nunez-Roche. And then, at the linebacker position, come on. Come on, guys. Jason Pierre-Paul, Carl Nassib, Shaq Barrett. Those are your outside edge rushing linebackers. Those guys are freaking beasts. All three of those guys are going to be making so much money this offseason. It's going to be ridiculous. Devin White and Levante David, one of the best inside linebacker duos in the NFL right now. I'm dead serious about that. That's not me being overly optimistic. I think I'm just stating a fact at that point. So, yeah, Levante David, he is having a Pro Bowl caliber type of year. You love to see it. And then in the case of Devin White, man, he just keeps on getting better and better and better as time goes on. I'm convinced that if he did not have that knee injury, he would be in a serious conversation for, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I wholeheartedly believe that. But his injury happened. It hampered him for a couple of games. And, hey, it's not that big of a deal. Devin White has such an amazing future ahead of him. So, yeah, guys, the front seven has been absolutely amazing for this Buccaneers defense. And then the secondary is seemingly getting things more and more together as the weeks go on. Vernon Hargreaves is now gone. It seems like with Carlton Davis as the number 1 cornerback and Jamel Dean as the number 2 cornerback and then Sean Murphy-Bunting as the slot cornerback, it seems like things are just getting better and better as time goes on. So this defense is starting to take form on all cylinders, not just the front seven, but the secondary is finally catching up with the rest of the defense. What does that mean for the Buccaneers in the remainder of this season? Who knows? Maybe they could go on a run. I'm not going to say playoffs or anything, but if we finish 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, I'll consider that a pretty decent improvement from the past couple of years, and I think a lot of you guys would agree with me, and I would feel pretty good about this team moving forward. So, yeah, guys, that's it for this preview. Let me know what you think about everything I mentioned down in the comment section below. What do you think about the Buccaneers run game? What do you think about the Buccaneers defense? What do you think about everything else that I mentioned? And, guys, again, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now. And again, can't say this enough. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, and the support that you've been giving me on all the videos. I really do greatly appreciate it. But again, until next time, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.